Hey everyone, it's me, your girl Melipona, back with the next installment of the 100 Days Drought Challenge. It's been a while, thanks for being patient. There's no real reason why it stalled out for so long, except for my days and my nights have completely flipped. So the time I normally spend recording is the time that I'm asleep, so my schedule just kind of got a little knocked off, but I'm getting back into the swing of things, and I'm really excited to show you guys the next 10 days of the Drought Challenge. I woke up on day 11 with it being a rainy day, and good luck, so hopefully I'll be able to get some mines done, do some additional gardening, and of course, say hello to my lovely cat. Checked up on living up on the land. Woes from crows. Sounds like you need a scarecrow. As frustrating as it is, I did actually have the quest for a scarecrow and I never actually made it. So the quest still remains and it's something I need to do in the next 10 days, even though my whole world was trying to get me to do the scarecrow quest. So I finally got the quest for Robin's axe. Since it's always in the same spot, this is just a good way to get a little friendship with her and make some additional gold early game. It's pretty necessary. And of course, while I'm down here, I'm going to check for some spring onions, or wild ramps as they're known, in some places. And again, I have this kind of theory I've been working on that the unluckier the day, the more spring onions there are. I wanted to check the help wanted board to see if there was some way I could get quick friendship. Maybe somebody needed a parsnip, but no. Pierre needs a gold bar to rub on his sore nose? I see weird quests from time to time, but this one was pretty weird. It definitely made me feel uncomfortable. I decided not to take it because I'm on day 11. There's no way I'm getting a gold bar. I'm just gonna try to wipe that from my mind and not think about Pierre. Went up to Robin's and returned her axe to get a little bit of gold since I spent some of it on seeds. And, just say hello to all my friends who are up here in the mountain. Saying hello to Maru and Demetrius. And then going up to the Adventurers Guild and selling some of my stuff and buying a better sword because I'm going to need to spend a lot of time in the mines. That's really where the early game shines, is any available time spending it in the mines. And like I've said before, I think in the previous one, my roommate Ponderosa actually does the mines for me because playing on my computer or playing with a controller, being in the mines and hitting those repetitive keys can really hurt my hands. So thankfully my roommate Ponderosa has allowed me to kind of backseat play while she does all of the front seat mining, and that's been really helpful for me, just save some wear and tear on my hands. But we're here at level 19 again, the dreaded spiral, and we are just not having any luck again. And if what happens last time happens to us again this time, where we cannot find an escape before we run out of energy, I'll probably cry. It does seem like this is what's going to happen. I gotta say, it was another one of those mines days where you're just on the absolute edge of your sanity and the edge of your seat, waiting for that one staircase to drop. With a relatively good luck day, we did eventually find one, which gave us just enough time to try to rush home, I thought, but by the end of it all, we did not succeed in making it home. And we fell asleep on the ground in the rain. But we did not die in the mines. So, that just happens sometimes. When you're trying to be really efficient with your time, you can't be too afraid of the consequences of just falling asleep outside of the farm, because as you can see, it's only 125 G, which 125 G to have that extra time and get to level 30 is a good trade-off. But, wake up the next day, I do have access to water. I use the rest of the water that's in my watering can first to give me the most amount of water left over at the end of the day in case tomorrow is a bad luck day and I don't have access to any more water. So that has been my strategy, because you can use water that's been left over from the day before It's pretty rough. Trying to keep track of, okay, well, I did 18 squares this day, so what I do is I just use the rest of the water in my can and then fill up at the end of the day every day, even if I have only used 1 or 2 little squares of water. It's just the easiest way that I've found to keep up with this. As always, I gotta go to the traveling cart, which is important because you need those truffles to complete the chef's bundle that would become open later. And speaking of bundles, I spent some time dropping some stuff off, trying to fill out those bundles as soon as possible. You know, it is an impact on the community that we're going for in this game. So to me, trying to finish at least as much as you can of the community center in year 1 is the best way to go about making a splash in the community. I know that there are other ways. If you look at the rules, some of the ways are the mines, getting to certain levels, how many starfruit you find, getting married is another big one, level 8 heart relationships with people, and then eradication goals is another way you can make an impact on the community. But overall, the community center is where a lot of the points lie at the very beginning. I know I spend a lot of time in the mines, but that's not for the same reason you would think. I'm not in there trying to do eradication goals. I'm in there trying to get resources to help me supplement my farm in a different way because I'm not capable of making a lot of money from the farming goods. So having a lot of copper, having a lot of stone in order to do house upgrades, which is another way to gain points. These things all happen because we spend a lot of time in the mines, and I think it's an okay strategy. I think it could be better refined, but I do understand early on the importance of the mines. So, you know, it's a hardy life out here. I wish that there was a clearer path to supplementing your income in these early days. But it also makes me kind of grateful that I didn't go on the normal 25% profit margin. I just went, this is either full, I think it's full profit margin. I don't think I even went to 75. I think that making these decisions early on and setting your game up to determine how you're going to make money is really, there's no other way to go about it. Fortunately, even if you do 25% profit margin, certain things in the game still sell for 100% profit margin. I don't know if you guys are interested in this, but if you're on a 25% profit margin farm, community quests become really important because they don't depreciate, they don't go down to a very small amount. Neither does selling weaponry or... So like 50G for sneakers here might not seem like a lot, but on a 25% profit margin farm, it's just like it's one of the best ratios you can do. And then the very last thing that doesn't diminish, that's a really good way to make money that I don't think a lot of people do when they're on a lower farm, is bobbers. Trap bobbers, the fishing lures, like trap bobbers, like the treasure lure. When you find those or get those as rewards, selling them, sometimes they sell for almost 1,000 gold, and that doesn't diminish either. So finding weaponry and finding additional clothes and stuff, protection clothes in the mines and selling them at the Adventurers Guild, or then selling fishing lures to Willy and stuff, are a really good way if you do this challenge and you decrease the amount of profit that you get, to just kind of boost your income on the side, because you're never going to sell a plant that makes 750 gold like you do at full, but you could sell a fishing lure for that amount. So it's a bad luck day. Just like I said yesterday, filling up at the end of the day allowed me to use whatever water I had left in my bucket, and I'm pretty sure it was enough for me to get through the whole day, but I can't fill up. So if we have another unlucky day tomorrow where I can't water, then I'm going to have enough, and I'm just going to have to choose which crops need to be watered. Probably the long growth ones, like the cauliflower or the green beans, would be the ones that I would prioritize, as opposed to something else that just maybe doesn't take as long to grow or is only going to yield one fruit. those would probably be lower on that priority list. But like a fool, today I decide to push my luck and use all the water in my watering can instead of saving it. I know if you're longtime players like me to the game, festivals like this might get a bit boring, but I really wanted to show you guys this festival specifically because first and foremost, the diverse Stardew Valley mod that I have does add new dialogue, but it only adds it after the first year. So this first year, we're gonna have the same dialogue that's in normal vanilla Stardew. Nothing surprise there, but everybody's in their spring festival outfits, and I think that it's like way too cute. And I just kind of wanted to show you guys what everyone looks like in the diverse Stardew Valley mod, because I don't know, seeing everyone change up their style a little bit does make me really happy. You guys probably see it when I'm just walking around town, but on festivals it's a nice little change of pace. So I just went around and I just talked to everybody to see what they were wearing and get that little portrait scene. I'm not exactly sure if this is interesting to you guys, seeing their portrait and their different clothes, but it just makes me happy, so that was my main choice here. The Egg Festival is one of my least favorite festivals in the game. Not because I think it's boring or anything, just because I personally like to play as like an older character, like in my late 20s, and I just feel weird competing against kids for eggs. Like, I love the straw hat. It's like the best hat in the game, we all know it, but like, just let the kids play, and other than that, there's just not that much to do as an adult. I mean, because it's not like I can eat or anything. I don't know, it just feels kind of weird to me. Maybe I'm the one who needs to play like a younger character and like really roleplay doing the egg hunt or whatever. But also, I have really bad luck with the egg hunt. I know that they're like, plot your routes and you can get X amount of eggs or whatever, and I never do that. I just kind of go with my gut willy-nilly, but like, it's also unfair because nobody else is running and I can sprint all around, so I don't know. Other than that, I do like the Spring Festival, but like I said, it's not one of my favorites. Oh, and she's wearing the straw hat because she's won in previous years. That is such a cute detail that I never realized. Oh my goodness, the detail in this game is just like adorable sometimes. This mod, I mean, the detail in the diverse Stardew Valley mod is really, really cute, but you know, like I said, I don't play with that many mods. The diverse Stardew Valley mod is one that has made my game just a little bit fresher. Not that the many portrait mods are like necessary, but I like that it hews to that original art style. But I don't mind the vanilla portraits either. I love the town either way. Here's what I'll say. It's the personalities, really. And I feel like the characters in the diverse Stardew Valley mod getting to change their clothes every year and getting to change them with the seasons, I feel like it just adds to their personalities, and that's really what clinches it for me. But there are a lot of mods out there that do this. This is just the one that I choose, and I really like it. So there is a link in the description below for the mods that I use if you're interested, and the Google Doc has all the rules for the challenge, and then down below it has all of the mods that I use in order of why I use them, for aesthetics, for gameplay, for the challenge. But I think this challenge only has 2 mods, the Better Hay mod and Better Mix Seeds, which isn't even necessary for the challenge. I just like Better Mix Seeds because it gives me what I feel is a more realistic game balance in the kind of farm that I'm playing for this game, where you can find rarer seeds if you go out foraging. I think that's fun. I think my character would be an avid forager, as you guys know from the obsession that I have with growing that forager skill. And I think that even though you start out with better mixed seeds in the beginning, growing that forager skill makes sense that you would find rarer seeds and such. So I don't know, it's just a little realism mod that I use that does give me, I guess, a little bit more money, but Oh, and I just realized I knew that I wouldn't have a bad luck day today, and I could use that water in my watering can because it was a rainy day today and I had that on the forecast. So maybe I wasn't just being like super risky, I was just being prepared, but it's also kind of funny that I didn't notice that when I was replaying this day. But yeah, that's why I took that chance. It makes a lot of sense to me now seeing it, is because I knew that today was going to be rainy. And I always like to use rainy days to till more land and plant more if I have it, but my garden is already at what I feel is a pretty uncomfortable level of size due to the fact that I'm in spring and I don't even have compost set or anything. Oh yeah, compost is the other mod, which again, it's not necessary for the challenge, but I think it will make the challenge much more enjoyable, so I do put it under like recommended for the challenge. It says from the description, this isn't to make it more challenging, although I think it does. It's just to add a different gameplay variety. There are lots of mods out there that do that just kind of expand gameplay. So you guys need to let me know if these are like really fun mods, or if you have mods that you suggest. There's one that gives you llamas on your farm and upgrades the barn animals so you can have different types. And it has been a dream of mine to own llamas for like a decade or so. I've really wanted llamas in real life, and especially in the area that I live, which is kind of what this challenge is modeled after. Llamas do really well here in Southwest Colorado. I know that's weird, but alpaca specifically do well at the high altitude, and so I kind of wanted to install it and have my animals like have the alpacas, and they're just so cute. I collect little stuffed llamas. But again, that just expands gameplay. It doesn't really take away from anything. It doesn't make it easier or harder. It's just another way to get wool. And then another one that I really wanted to try is where there's an expanded recipes, because I really would love to make a shed that has like a coffee shop. I did that on my very first completion farm, where I only did like milk and coffee, and I had baked goods, and I would love to be able to make different coffee flavors and sell them as part of my farm's main income source. But I'm not really doing that right now. This is supposed to simulate the difficulties of farming in a mountainous region. And so yeah, that's why I chose the mods that I did. There were probably other ones that I could have chosen. Like I was tempted to do the longevity mod. There's just a lot of different options. I'm not gonna go into all the specifics of it, but it conflicted with another one of my mods, which I thought was weird because I only have like 7. So I just chose not to use it, but I was planning on having that incorporate in this challenge. So if any of you can get that to work, let me know for sure, because I would love to be able to incorporate the longevity mod into this challenge. So on rainy days, I like to either go to the mines or do some fishing. I need an eel specifically for one of the fishing bundles, and I highly doubt I'm going to get it because all I have is the bamboo rod, and I think my fishing is at like level 1 or 2. But I spend some time fishing right outside of Willie's shop so I can easily go back and forth and sell. And I am making fun of the fact that I am fishing with the bamboo rod and that it's very difficult. But somehow, some way, I swear I did not plan this, I succeed. I succeed at catching this fish, and it completely blows my mind. Right after I made that whole joke about how there was no way I was going to catch an eel, I catch one. A 0-star sardine was harder, but I did it with fishing level 1 and the bamboo rod. It was to me just like one of the proudest achievements of this game that I somehow was able to make that eel appear and then catch it like it was nothing. So yeah, I felt pretty lucky. I decided to keep that luck going by doing a little bit more fishing in the river before I went home and went to bed, because I was so close to leveling up. So I finally leveled up with like my 5th shad of the day, and just decided, call it a night. I'll go home. And my farm is still an untenable mess, making it impossible to navigate. But I left early enough from the long day of fishing that I was able to make it home on time and go to bed, and I think that's a pretty good rainy day well spent. Love the fishing game. As I said in the previous video, a lot of people think that it's really hard, and there are actually mods to help it be more balanced or help it feel more realistic, and I get that. If you're trying to play the game to relax, having such a difficult mechanic at the very beginning really kind of takes you out of the relaxing immersion, but I personally like the challenge. So woke up to a lot of letters today, which was great, and it was also salmonberry season, so I'm making pretty good money early on. I know 500 of that 33.78 was just given to me, but I feel like, look, it's salmonberry season, some of my plants are doing really well, so even though I don't have like higher profits for berries yet, I'm gonna spend my time collecting some berries. You know, one thing that has always frustrated me about this game is that harvesting berries on bushes don't give XP to foraging, even though it is the most foraging-like thing you can do in the game. It always makes me a bit wistful because as a child I used to care for all the berries on our family farm, not a family farm, but like our home garden that my grandfather used to take care of. And so I am kind of obsessed with berries as a baker now. I love rare and wild berries particularly. So the blackberry season and salmonberry season are really fun for me because I love going around, checking all the different places, finding all those overflowing berry bushes. It's just, to me, that's a really fun part of the game. And yet I still feel like that not giving foraging experience is very confusing to me. I feel like it should. Am I crazy for thinking that foraging berries from bushes should give XP? I don't know. You guys need to let me know if that's something that bothers you, or if you think that it's realistic or that people would level up too fast. Even if you just got like 1 XP per berry or something. I just feel like that's a real missed opportunity. I wanted to spend today also, since I had that bonus gold that I was given, processing some geodes with Clint to see if I could get anything new for the museum, which is another way to get points. Museum completionist. I think if you completely complete the museum, there are extra points, but maybe just getting the shovel award is all that I put on the rules. Again, it helps the community because you do have kids that are using this area to go to school, and having those samples of things is educational for them and helpful. And also the community gets recognized for your donations. So I assume that the community cares that you're like donating artifacts and such. That was kind of an immersive thing I added. It's not as clear if the community cares compared to, like, for instance, the monster eradication goals. That has very clear understanding of if you're benefiting the community in a good way. I want to give some gifts. Everyone seemed to like my choices. Jody didn't. Salmon berries are an incredibly unpopular gift, so I don't usually give them, but I'll give one to Linus, especially if I harvest it around his place, because it's like, hey, you had some berries growing here, save yourself the energy, I got them for you. And to me, that's a little bit of an immersion thing. He's also, I think, the only one who likes salmon berries. Most people hate them, and Jody apparently hates dandelions, which is just heartbreaking to me because dandelion slander has to stop. Dandelions were originally brought over as a fertile and nutritious crop that could grow almost anywhere, and that food equality, food egalitarian behavior of dandelions is just very beautiful. And now getting rid of dandelions on any lawns, even though they're gorgeous, is $1 billion a year industry. So when we talk about food equity, dandelions, great early game for supplementing food, easily found, can grow anywhere in spring. When you see someone hate it, maybe she just hates the taste, but you really think maybe she's bought into the whole industry that views dandelions as a weed. I don't know, I don't kind of get that from Jody. I think she would feel more strongly. And I mean, dandelions don't taste like hardly anything. So, I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it. I just don't feel like it would be a hated gift for her, so it did quite surprise me and I felt pretty sad about that. some of my crops were available for harvest today, which made me really happy because I made some crops grow from the beginning. It's day 16, and I think I've made out of the 3,500 that I had yesterday, 3,300. I think probably 1,000 of that was from crops, maybe? It's impossible to know, but I am starting to gain a little bit of profit from my farm, which is, it's a really good feeling. Like the fiero of succeeding at raising something, even if it's just a wild forageable, which are already supposed to be pretty hardy, made me really happy. They didn't die to drought, also didn't die to pestilence, and they weren't eaten by crows. I can't believe it that I forgot to build a scarecrow when I've had everything for it. So as frustrating as that is, you guys will just have to tune in next time to see the scarecrow be built, and maybe that's the reason I did it. I take it all back. I didn't forget. I just wanted to give you a reason to keep coming back. I spent today harvest the salmon berries around my farm, as well as check my tappers for any resources. I decided I'm gonna clear up my farm. I made more tappers. I think I have 8 or 9 now on trees in the area. As soon as you can get them on there, the sooner the better. So I figure I'm just gonna waste my energy today cleaning up my farm because I'm sick of coming back at like midnight and not being able to see and stubbing my toe and tripping. It's just dangerous. It's a hazard is what it is. On these days when all I do is clean up the farm, I also like to do some tasks around town, meet with some people, give gifts if I have any. Why did I do this? I don't know. I know that salmon berries are a hated gift, especially from Elliot, and I give him one anyway. I confuse myself sometimes in just the choices that I make. Maybe Farmer seriously wants Elliot to hate them, even saying that breaks my heart, so I immediately recant it. But overall, I think sometimes I just make these really foolish mistakes in gift giving because something that I think they would like, again with like the Jody thing, like I think Elliot would like salmon berries, and I don't have as much of a solid belief in that, except for the fact that he moved to Stardew Valley because he loves Stardew Valley. These are local to the area. I picked it with my own hands. I mean, they're fresh, farm fresh, and he probably doesn't get a lot of berries. I don't know. I think he would like them. I don't get why he doesn't. I don't get why they're such a low rated gift. I personally have never had salmon berries in real life. I've had a lot of wild berries, but I have not had salmon berries. So maybe they're just gross. Maybe they're just bitter and sour or whatever, but I don't know. That's my only reasoning moving forward for why I think you would hate it. But I wanted to spend some time at the mountain lake fishing, and I got to spend some time with Abigail, and then I fished with Sebastian, and that was a really nice way to end the day, just gaining a little bit of treasure, leveling up. And look at that. I mean, absolute treasure that I need, because I am not even remotely close to getting iron from the mines yet. And iron is super necessary. I think one of the biggest uses for iron early is making sprinklers. Everybody wants iron bars for sprinklers. But since you're not allowed to use sprinklers in this game, the main reason why I look for iron early on is to upgrade my tools as soon as possible. Tool upgrades do get points in your year evaluation because it makes them more efficient, and it also stimulates the local economy. It's one of the very few things that is accessible to everybody from early on in the game. Whereas some people might not be able to do the mines for one reason or another, or for instance, like in this game, you can't really farm a lot, but you can upgrade your tools. So I am really happy I finally upgraded a second tool, and I am on the way to upgrade another one. I don't know how carefully you guys have read the rules, but you can upgrade your watering can to copper, and that's it. You can't upgrade to iron, gold, or iridium because, and this is just, I don't know if you guys have ever done this, but by that point in time, when you're upgrading your watering can, you generally have sprinklers. In this game, you don't have sprinklers, but one watering can lasts like half a season because And this is, I don't understand why the game is balanced this way, but when you hold and do like a long water of your watering can, like for instance, you want to water 9 squares at once, it only uses the amount of water of 1 water. So it's the same as watering 1 tile. 9 tiles is the same as watering 1 tile. And it's the same for the iridium watering can. So I'm watering in plots of 9, and I'm doing that on my entire huge farming area. And yeah, it takes energy and stuff like that, but my watering can, I think it would have taken almost 600 squares. And I was like, okay, that's broken, like straight up broken for the drought challenge. So you can only upgrade to copper, which gives you a little bit more flexibility of how you water with the 3 tiles. But it also, I think, is a relatively, it's a nice boost in water, but it's not overpowered. That's why I decided to leave it at copper. Some explanation for that. That's my logic behind that. So, I mean, overall, I feel like today was a pretty busy day. I did a bunch of stuff and it even snuck into the mines there at the end. Didn't really harvest that many berries. They don't sell for a lot. What people like to use salmon berries for most are in the mines, because they're a good free supplement to health before you have the ability to cook in a kitchen and use cooked goods. I try not to eat food in the mines. Kind of a glutton for punishment, making the game a little hard on myself. I will if I have a goal and I'm really close to meeting it, but for the most part, I try not to eat food in the mines. Now, the exception would be going to the Skull Cavern or something like that. That's like not a hard and fast rule, it's just my own mind. So I don't think Stardew is supposed to be as hard as I like it. You guys gotta be out there for a challenge too. I can't be the only one who enjoys playing games, cozy games, like really challenging. So yeah, then this challenge is for you. You've come to the right place. So, as always, I spent some time on the farm, replanting, making some copper bars. This kind of stuff is really important. It is, after all, the bread and butter of Stardew, where you're just kind of grinding along and doing all the stuff that you need to in order to try to make some money. Right now, my monetary goals are focused around upgrading my equipment and hopefully buying a better sword, because I think right now the best sword I have is like the steel short sword, and that is just not going to be enough for me. I know we all love the OG, which is like the best sword in the game, the Galaxy sword, but it doesn't look like I'm going to be getting that anytime soon. So I'm hoping I either get a really good drop early, like I'd even settle for a bone sword at this point, to be perfectly honest. Other than saving up for better weapons and better tools, what I am trying to do is finish the bundles as quickly as I can. That's not too hard. There are some difficult parts to it, but overall, as long as you have a little bit of planning and forethought and then end up getting lucky at the caravan, then you'll be able to fill out all of the bundles pretty easily. It's always good to go into town, do some geode processing, talk to some people, give some gifts. I think one of the hardest things about this is balancing giving gifts and making sure that you have something that people like in the first season, because despite my terrible past gift giving record in this playthrough, I do for the most part know what people want. And it's actually a little bit more difficult in the first season than I would have anticipated. It's always nice to find a gift that somebody likes right next to them. Well, I was just really happy to say happy birthday to Pam and to give her a parsnip because for some reason she really likes them. But I wish that it was easier to make friends in this first year, because you can give liked gifts, but man, the difference between liked and loved gifts is huge. I just feel like if in the first year I could give people loved gifts, it would be so much easier getting to that 8 heart threshold that I need with anybody to get those points. So I'm being efficient with my energy as always, putting tappers on wild growing trees because I'm not sure how I want to keep the layout of my farm, but sometimes it's just safer to put tappers on trees that exist outside of your farm because things move around. Eventually I will, in my future plan, turn the quarry into a tapping field. I saw the idea, I can't remember where I saw it. I think I was just looking at Stardew Inspo on Instagram, and somebody had turned both the quarry and the train tracks into tapping areas, and they had them decorated so beautifully. And I really like that idea. I don't normally decorate out there. I just end up planting a bunch of trees and getting a bunch of tappers. But especially when you unlock the minecart, it's pretty easy to just run out, run back, and you've made a neat 3 to 4K. Or even more depending on how many trees you're tapping. But it is expensive because of the tappers. 2 copper bar, 40 wood expense. As you can see, it always pays off when you're able to give someone a birthday gift. I'm just gonna work on winning over the townspeople one at a time, hopefully not giving them any more hated gifts, which is just like always a slap in the face, you hate to see it. And then trying to finish those bundles. Every Friday and Sunday, I faithfully go to the trader because you never know what you're gonna find. I basically always want to keep 3,000 G in reserve because that's the median price for what a truffle goes for. But in spring, if there's a truffle being sold and I can't afford it, I'm just gonna have to deal with it. And as you can see, I got the red cabbage seed, which means I am going to be able to in-game complete the bundles for this year. Deliver a quest for Jody just to give her some a fresh cauliflower, and I made sure to save one specifically for her. And then just tidying some stuff up around town. Yesterday I didn't quite finish all of the stuff that I wanted to around town, but I really should work on planning this more efficiently because I really should only be going into town like 1 or 2 days per week so that I'm not just wasting my time going into town and breaking geodes and doing that when I could do it all at once. But I didn't really have any plans for today, so I know my strategy is always to be using my entire energy, but because I didn't have very many plans for today, I think I just kind of did whatever needed to be done, and that's okay. I don't want to be so strict with this gameplay that I'm like min-maxing, because I don't even do that in games where you really need to. Never been a big min-maxer, but just as strategy in general, trying to be efficient, it lets the game flow in a way that I feel like a farmer in Southwest Colorado who's undergoing a drought ban, who's really serious about getting their farm up and running in a year, would roleplay, would play it. And that requires a lot of fish, apparently a lot of flounder. I don't know why I decided to go fish with Elliot, other than the fact that I just wanted to spend some time with him when I had stuff in my inventory that I needed to put in the bundle because, like, what was I thinking? I don't know, but for the most part, inventory space isn't something that I really tend to prioritize in this game, and it does require a little bit of juggling because I only have the original 12 slots. That's just how it goes. Haley ignored me, even though I think she's starting to like me. I never know where I stand with villagers. Sometimes I feel like I'm playing early game. I'm playing like a reality TV show where just in order to make people like me, I'm doing the most. And it's unfortunately not the best thing for me. If I really played this, it wouldn't be, oh, I need to make friends with anybody. I think you're trying to make a splash in the community, and you never know when you're really gonna need that connection with someone. So I try not to burn bridges, but I prioritize people I like more than just the normal peeps. So you guys need to make sure to tell me in the comments who you prioritize when you play through the first year, because I know a lot of you are probably out there wanting to prioritize people for the flower dance the next year, and believe me, I like that too. But I just want to know, like, I think my top priorities are Robin, Pierre, Sebastian, of course, because I think he's so cute, and Elliot, of course. I think Willie is important as well. Lewis, he's definitely on the board. And then just people who I think it's just nice, like Marnie and Leah are both my neighbors, so I want to have good relationships with them, and it makes sense for me to want to be friendly with them. Everybody else, it's kind of difficult because I want to be friends with them, like especially Linus. It's really important to me to make friends with Linus because he has different recipes that are really good for being a fisher and also for winning over some of the other characters, but it's just never a priority until I see that person. Unlike, for instance, Robin and Sebastian and Elliot and Pierre. I'm always thinking in the back of my mind, Pierre's a hard one because he doesn't like anything and he doesn't love anything either. But then I see like Marigold and Linus and I'm like, oh, I need to be giving gifts to them. So it is difficult. I'll give the game that balancing what you think friendship priorities should be are versus what you need. And I'm sure Pierre is on the board too, and winning him over would be important. And my cat is probably on the board too, and it would be important. I don't know. I mean, I generally enjoy the gift-giving raise relationship game. 2 gifts per week except for birthday. Like, I think those rules were really smart for Concerned Ape because it's very simple. You can always remember it in the back of your head. It's tracked in the game, and time tends to go really fast in this game with each day clocking in between 10 to 15 minutes, even when you're playing on like crazy use every last drop of energy challenge like me. But at the same time, I kind of wish there were other things you could do other than like the heart scenes and stuff, maybe just like one other mechanic where you could win people over. And I think that was addressed with the community board that comes in fall, which is another way to earn points for the challenge because obviously you're benefiting the community. And I love those quests. I love getting to know the characters more. I get that games like Stardew Valley are games where acquiring items is the main purpose. But I do wish that there was maybe one other mechanic, like where you could win people over that was not based on that. For instance, if you decorated your yard for the seasons, there could be like a judging of that. Which, you know, it's weird that I say that and have that idea because that's kind of why I invented this quest, was to add a little bit more gameplay that wasn't just fetching things. But I think it would be really cute, like the Happy Home Academy in Animal Crossing. But it would be really cute if, like, for instance, Marnie took Jazz and Jody took Vincent to see your house decorated all for Christmas. And it would add some more incentives to really hitting the night market and buying those festival markets. And of course, Leah always decorates her cottage and she loves it. So maybe her hearts go up with you the more seasons in a row you decorate. I don't know. I don't know exactly how that mechanic would work. I just think that there is room in the game for a little bit of a different way to interact with the people in the town that could deepen your bonds with them if you have similar interests. Ooh, it would be really fun to have like a little meetup or something where you could go work out, and if you go work out, you get like a 20 heart raise with everybody who also works out, or a photography club or something that's based on the interest, and you could join, you could simulate joining. I don't know. I'm just kind of riffing about what I would like to be able to do in the town and also what I like to do in real life, because other than the fact that I'm practically a shut-in these days due to chronic illness, I am and have been my whole life an extrovert. Finding little times where I can go out and hang out with people with similar interests, even if they're strangers, is always pretty fulfilling to me. I'm pretty impressed with how far I've made it in my levels. I'm not quite at level 5 with anything yet, but I'm definitely getting close, and it's already day 20, so that tells me that if I'm not on track, I'm at least close to the curve that I was shooting for, because I would hope by the end of summer I have at least 3 level 5 skills, if not everything at least level 5. I know that seems ambitious for half the year to be over and the skills to be leveled that quickly, but we need those leveled bonuses. We need the recipes, we need the foraging skill increases, we need the fishing skill bar to be increased. I just think overall it's not a bad idea to keep your eye on those levels. And I do think that there is a reward in the rules for having level 10 skills as well. So yeah, I mean, these are my hopes. These are my goals. Maybe they're ambitious, but maybe I'll meet them. And why not always buy Shane a beer? It's possible that I could be encouraging bad habits by doing that. But what are these like cheap beers that Gus sells? They're not cheap. They're like way too expensive early game. I just hope that in making a friendship with Shane, I can help avert some of those habits. But I don't know. His life isn't mine to save. It's not mine to fix. It's his birthday. We're both at the bar. Why not do something nice for the guy? But there is a bit of conflict there. I never know if or if not I'm making the right decision for him as a person, but I don't know, he's gonna drink anyway, so maybe one of them being on me isn't the worst. But yeah, 600 for a beer is so steep, I almost can't handle that. The sticker shock is way unbalanced, even on 100% profit early in the game. But yeah, I leveled up fishing and I made a lot of gold today, which barely compensated me for 2 beers, which is just insane if you think about it. I overall feel like I've done really well making quick work of a lot of my goals, and a lot of the fun that I'm having with this challenge is based on those strict parameters that have kind of boxed me in. I hope you guys are enjoying this series so far. I'm really having a lot of fun. I can't wait to play the next 10 days because we will officially end spring and move into summer. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. As always, it's me, your girl, Melipona, here to brighten up your day with another video. If you like this content and want to see more, please like, comment, subscribe. I love hearing from you guys. Hit that bell, all that wonderful noise that helps channels like mine grow. I super appreciate you guys for choosing to spend your time with me today, and honestly, I hope you have a good one. As always, this is the end.